Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite bands and their progression through music, Avenged Sevenfold, or A7X as they're called. These guys started off hardcore and grungy as hell, but they were lacking a lot of musicality if you ask me. Now, in their first couple albums, like Sounding The Seventh Trumpet, you see a lot of really harsh sounds, and there was a lot of screaming, and Matt Shadows, tore his voice up every time he went on tour, and everything like that. It was badass, but for kind of a short amount of time, if you ask me. It was good music, it was good rock, but you could only listen to it so much because it was just, alright, yeah, alright, okay, maybe, I don't know what the hell all that meant. As they progressed, though, they started putting more musicality, more complex things, ideas into their music and everything like that. And as a musician, I really came to appreciate this. Now, their most popular album is, without a doubt, City of Evil, and it's arguably their best one, too. I personally prefer the White Album, the self-produced, self-titled album that came afterward with just the white and then the death bat symbol, and that's my personal favorite, but that's definitely not as heavy as the previous ones, and a lot of people were actually upset about that. They're also upset about like a couple very broad, general, not quite political statements, but I guess statements on the attitude of people here in the States, and it was there's something to be said for wanting to hear, music without having to think too much about it, I guess. I think that's where the idea was, is they didn't want to think about the music and about the lyrics and everything like that. Then again, that's not too much of a surprise because these statements are coming from Marines mostly. But, and then there was also a lot of people who said that they went emo. Now I'm going to address both of these statements basically at the same time here. They already were emo and they already were political. You just didn't catch it because before they were a little more subtle about it. Or you couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying. Now, as for the emo bit, pretty much all music is emotional. So I'm getting tired of hearing that anyways. But I understand what you mean. You mean like depressed and everything like that. And talking about committing suicide and all this jazz. So, okay, we'll take that. All right, we'll take that. It's very, dark and depressing and sad. And I'll kill myself. Okay. So, they weren't like that before, but I really don't think that they went that far into it with the White Album. Others may disagree with me on that. Everybody has their opinion. It's just not funny anymore, is it? And I'm not saying that anybody else is wrong, but mine's right. So if yours isn't mine, then it must be wrong. As for the political bit, though, they definitely had a lot of that going on before, and people just didn't notice it. I don't know, but at the same time, a lot of these guys who are saying that they got political and that they don't like that they got political, they'll turn right around and they'll listen to plenty of other music that has all kinds of extremely political messages. I actually was addressing an acquaintance in the Philippines while I was there on Liberty when I was still stationed on the Essex, and this guy said that he didn't like the new direction that Avenged Sevenfold was taking because it wasn't as heavy. Fair enough, I can totally see that one. That's fine. And because they got all political, as he put it. I'm just gonna keep trying. Well, now, you're saying that they got all political. Okay, well, maybe you've listened to a lot of other groups that really don't have political messages because they're out there. I mean, they're kind of rare these days because politics are so widely blasted across the media around the world, and especially in the United States. But we'll go ahead and say that we only listen to other groups with no political messages, and then we'll test that. So I started asking him who else he likes to listen to, right? He said he likes Linkin Park. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one alone because that one is open to interpretation. Said he likes Disturbed. Well, that one's definitely open to interpretation on more than half their songs, but there's some that are just straight out like Deify. You hear George Bush's voice in the opening of that song. If there's not a more political group in modern rock than Disturbed, if there is a group more politically involved, I'm confusing the hell out of myself. Anyways, but then I asked him, just trying to see, because this man was so famous for his influence on the world politically and everything like that. By which I don't mean the guy that I was talking to at the moment. He's just, this is stupid. Further into it than just basic politics, but I asked him if he liked reggae, and he said yes, and I said, so you like Bob Marley? He said yes, and I said, well, who's more political than Bob Marley? Which there are there, but he's the one most noticed for it. So, and he said, well, Bob Marley, he was just preaching about everybody getting along and love and everything like that. And I said, no, that wasn't all he was preaching. Those were the biggest messages, and they were the most common ones that were like played on the radio and everything like that. But he definitely had some very political messages that had nothing to do with ethics as well. Of course, this guy wouldn't listen to a word I was saying. He was getting drunk and everything like that. So I said, oh, you know what, you're probably right, and just carried on and left the conversation. Went and got plastered and rode go-karts. But for all you guys out there and gals that are saying that you don't like Avenged Sevenfold's latest direction, it's not really new anymore, because of the political message, I really think that you're being naive. I will not retract that statement. You could take it as an opportunity to grow as a person and go look at everything else you're listening to, and then accept the political views and either disagree with them or agree with them, and then decide if you're still going to listen to the music. And if you like the music, then I say keep listening to it. As for the emo view, I mean, get over it. The only band that I can think of off the top of my head that doesn't constantly have some sort of emotional idea in their music is AC/DC, and that's because they only talked about drinking and rock and roll. So, if you want non-emotional music, listen to hip-hop, and not any of the best of it, not like underground hip-hop and everything like that. I'm talking like mainstream, like Soulja Boy and all that crap. Even Jay-Z has some emotion in some of his stuff. And that's more old school, although he transcends generations. The really talented guys like him, like Mike Shinoda, these guys even have emotion displayed in some of their music, or at least ideas about things, like Fort Minor's song Cigarettes. It's not really an emotional song, but it definitely presents an idea of what he sees modern day rap and hip hop as. Totally off subject, back to A7X. I think that the difference between old school A7X, which was harsh and heavy and just so much adrenaline and good music, and the latest A7X, which was much more musically involved and still had some extremely heavy elements in it and displayed a more wide range of the human experience, is you could kind of say that it's like a sawed-off 8-gauge shotgun. Yeah, that's right. And a Barrett 50 cal. I'm not gonna explain that to anyone. Figure it out yourself. Those are my views on A7X from then to now, and I'm gonna say that I prefer City of Evil and the self-titled album to Wake from the Fallen and Sounding The Seventh Trumpet, but I still do very much like the old school stuff as well. I'm gonna go ahead and commemorate this vlog to the Rev, A7X's drummer who recently passed away, overdosed, because he's a rock star. But one of the best drummers to hit the rock and roll scene like ever. So this goes out to you, Rev. Cheers.